Well, I watched what can only be described as a 2 hour commercial separated by other commercials, and then musical acts that were also commercials, separated by brief seconds of actual content. The Video Game Awards still sucks, and it's so disappointing because they probably had record numbers of viewers last night. I think at one point they were close to or over a million viewers on Twitch. When I looked at YouTube, there was another 250, 300,000. It was a massive, massive production, a massive, massive bore. I want to talk constructively about the Game Awards, though, and not just rail on it, because Keeley, you may know him as the Doritos Pope. He puts on what could be an amazing show. He clearly loves what he's doing. He's well connected, but the amount of money that they are clearly worried about generating is taking away from the overall production. It is essentially, if you don't watch the Game Awards, it's ads separated by more ads, separated by musical performances that are also ads, separated by awards that are also ads. That's what it is in a nutshell. You get very little actual information. There's a few. The only reason I watch is one, because I have to because of this channel, but two, because of the rare world exclusives that are always awesome. I mean, let me give you a perfect example. Last night, in between ads, in between more ads, in between musical ads, in between ads breaking up the show that were other ads for other mobile apps, they revealed the brand new Xbox console. They spent 8 seconds talking about it. I mean, you watch the show to learn about that. You basically tolerate the ads to survive, to get a little taste, a crumb of information. And when people come up on stage, Keeley is under such a tight time constraint, he's practically shoving them off. I mean, you could talk about how some of the ads or some of the awards seem rigged. And of course they are. All award shows are rigged to a certain extent. I don't think that the popular vote really ever matters. But you could also look at awards that, kind of destroy that narrative where, Sekiro winning Game of the Year. I mean, yes, I believe it deserved it because it was a game that showed that hard work makes payoff worth it still in games, that there are people out there that still really enjoy a challenge in video games, and that the challenging part of the game can be part of the experience. You know why game journalists endlessly whined about how difficult it was. Most of us who played the game really enjoyed the challenge. It became a meme. It was so transformative in the space. It was like people had forgotten that you can make a difficult single player game that is both beautiful, challenging, and rewarding. So I think you'd be hard pressed to argue differently. Some other interesting takeaways. Borderlands 3, I don't think even had a single nomination. What's up with that? I mean, everyone bought the game. Nobody's talking about it. That's really surprising, to be honest. If you really wanted to buy into the whole thing is rigged, Gearbox was there. They were working, I believe, on the PS5. They were somehow involved in the PS5 exclusive, which will be an Epic Store exclusive. But that game actually looked pretty good for the PS5. I think we only saw one PS5 game. But if you believe that money completely talks, then I'd be surprised. I'm surprised why Borderlands 3 wasn't nominated for anything. Anyway, I digress. I want to give some tangible feedback to Keeley here because I think that the show could be great. Remember, when I watch the show, a couple things come to mind, and I'll tell you what they are. Hollywood's dead, and now they're encroaching into video games. You see, Norman Reedus there for obvious reasons because of his part in Death Stranding. You see awards going out to Mads Mikkelsen, which bring back Hannibal already. But then you see I mean, Game of the Year. You allow Game of the Year to be announced by a commercial. Think about that. The most important award that you give away at the Game Awards is announced by an ad for a Fast and Furious video game, which, by the way, looks like it has the graphics of a PlayStation 3. I mean, you can sell spots, Keely, but you don't have to sell all the spots. I mean, you have to have some room for content. You have world exclusives announced for video games that just look stunning. What was it? Bravely Default 2. And then there were a couple others. I can't think of it. It had the longest ad of the night. Ghosts of Tsushima, I think, something, if I remember correctly, something like that. You know, we didn't get to see anything about it. We watched a trailer that we could all watch on YouTube the next day. You've got to add value. You've got such a huge captive audience. Stop just selling every minute of it. I mean, when people are up on stage, you play the world exclusive. You have, admittedly, some really awkward people up there. But look, not everyone's comfortable on that big of a stage, and not every company has, you know, somebody that is well-spoken and can handle that moment. I don't hold it against people for being, you know, kind of awkward in that moment. But you're basically like, oh, world exclusive? Okay. When's this come out? Okay, get off. We've got to run an ad for anti-vaping. Or we've got to run our Facebook Games social justice ads on gaming citizens of the world, which is so cringe, too. I mean, nothing against the people at all seem really cool, but Jesus, it's just another ad. And then, like, I actually really liked, you had the soldier charity stack up, I think, or very cool. I'd love to get involved in helping them raise money for their cause. Very cool. But you know, you have just tired old things. So let me take a perfect example. There was basically a 7-minute ad for Apex Legends where Jeff Keighley is talking to a character from Apex Legends. And, you know, I don't think that it necessarily was as cringe as some people might say. Did it work? Nah, if it was shorter. You could say the same thing about the Muppets sketch. The Muppets thing was hilarious, but it was too long. You know, you have this long ad for Apex Legends, and then they immediately win the award in the next category. I mean, that if it's not rigged, you've got to think about how that looks. You've got to think about, Jesus, can we not give Fortnite an award every year? I mean, I suppose you could argue that they were, you know, relaunched this year. But in my opinion, in my humble opinion, there's more to a game's award worthiness than just the number of players it has. And while Fortnite does do an excellent job in kind of this ongoing game, what was the award they won was ongoing, what was it? Oh, here, let me actually pull up some of the award winners. You had Best Game Direction, Control, fine. I mean, I don't know a single person that played that game. I heard it's very good, fine. Game of the Year, Sekiro, fine. Any one of these games could have won it. The Outer Worlds, Resident Evil 2, I think, didn't get a lot of shine because it was a remake. I'm just guessing. Death Stranding wasn't going to win it because they gave it to Best Game Direction. But you can just go through this and see Best Narrative, Disco Elysium. I mean, maybe, you know, maybe. Best Art Direction, Control, fine. Best Score and Music, Death Stranding. I think you could have picked other games there. You know, I don't like a single game winning multiple categories unless it's like transcendent. Best Audio Design, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, that was a joke. Best Performance, Mads Mikkelsen, that was very good. Games for Impact, that's a cringe category. That's like a SJW category, but fine. Here's the category I'm talking about. Best Ongoing Game. You mean to tell me that Fortnite, a game that just wins everything all the time, You couldn't have given it to Destiny 2 or Final Fantasy 14. I mean, how did Rainbow Six Siege even get nominated? I mean, and Apex Legends, I mean, Jesus. I mean, they have, I mean, look, it's a fine game. Nothing wrong with the game. But it is a distant third in its own category, and it keeps getting pushed on everybody like it's dominating the world. Final Fantasy 14 has what? 15 million players worldwide or something like that. 15 million adventurers, I think I saw in the commercial, with one of the best expansions just recently released. You're talking about a game that really stunk in the beginning, took their community's feedback, got better, and just keeps getting better and growing. You can talk about Destiny 2, how they broke away from the Activision grouping, came and really have delivered excellent value to their customers. But instead it goes to Fortnite. Like, come on. Is it contractual that you have to give Fortnite an award? Like, I know you gave best community support to Destiny 2, but, you know, I don't think Fortnite was better than either of those games. But, you know, overall, the awards seem good. Best action game, Devil May Cry 5, awesome. Here's a Borderlands 3 nomination. It was best action adventure game, lost to Sekiro. Best RPG, Disco Elysium. I disagree, but fine. You're not going to agree with every single award. Best fighting game, obviously Super Smash Brothers. Best family game, Luigi's Mansion. Fine. Every one of these games were Nintendo. Best strategy game, Fire Emblem. That's good. I mean, everybody, I can't really argue strongest against anything except for best multiplayer game, which is Apex Legends is not the best multiplayer game. Get out of here. Absolutely not. It's a good game, but it's not the best. But most of your awards seem reasonable. I don't think it's necessarily rigged, but you've got to do better. The anti-vaping ads are cringe. I get it. That's fine if you want to run those in there. But why don't you run those during the actual commercial breaks? It's like you have commercials on top of commercials, and then you go to commercial break, which is just more game commercials. It's entirely impossible to tell the difference between the actual show and the actual commercials. You know, if you need that much money, maybe don't pay churches or don't pay what's Elon Musk's girlfriend's name. That was also an ad. You could argue that maybe the games paid for these performances. Like, I don't give a crap about trotting 100-year-old Green Day out there to play a song that's 40 years old. I just don't care. I think it was probably an ad for the VR game, Beat. What was it called? You know what I mean. Facebook just bought them. What was it? Let me look real quick, because I think it was... Well, it doesn't matter. You know what I'm talking about. Beat Saber. Maybe Beat Saber paid for Green Day. But, I mean, I'm watching the Game Awards. I don't care about Green Day. Maybe have them at the end to wrap it all up. Unless, I learned nothing. I feel like I learned nothing about any of these games. It was the greatest example of consume products, don't question things, and get excited about future products than I can even think of. You've got to do more to actually entertain your viewers, and you'll really, really work to have something with better balance and more entertainment value. Otherwise, people are going to stop tuning in. It's just that way. By the way, they were also accepting super chats in their YouTube, and I don't know if they're accepting money on Twitch too, but I mean, come on. How much money is enough, Jeff? And if maybe think about rolling back some of the production that you need, or flying out all these personalities, or catering to Hollywood, and give the gamers some more information. That would be nice. Hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.